think we are. Steep my tea. Wait to see what cometh. Ah, C222. You gotta hit the button. Gotta hit the button, that's how it counts. Can you make it to first? There we go. See, now it's official, and I can add you to the board. There's a lot of firsts, no seconds. 2, 3, both. Jobs are good un. Hoffer's Fearless, Dustin really, Watto and welcome. Yeah. Oh, C222, I am honoured. It's a really nice pin. It's way more glitter than I intended, but I don't hate it. Sorry, C222 was saying that their Longship pin holds a special place. I still need to mail square peg theirs. Honestly, I wish I had the hours in a day to be able to just sell them to you all. Who knows? Maybe as things improve, maybe there are some services which can make my life make it viable. Because I love doing pins. I fucking love doing pins. However, the greatest pin of all time already exists. And that is the it gets worse before it gets worse pin. I'm never going to be able to top that. Anyway, how are you all doing? A good Friday afternoon to you all. So, just in case you didn't see the varying announcement, so today was supposed to be a game called Rusted Moss. Rusted Moss is feckin' brilliant. And I've been wanting to show you all a bit of it for quite some time because it seems one of those very easy to understand games, but it's a cavalcade of excellent subtleties. Orchazini, Watto, and welcome. However, as you might have noticed from the alert, I had grand ideas today. I was going to get up early, I was going to stream games for you all, then we were going to nip off to go hang out with... Well, I shouldn't say hang out with. Our friend is opening a co-working space in Seattle. However, it's going to be like 3-4 games industry peeps and creatives and whatnot. And that particular friendo has been helping us out a lot behind the scenes. So we're going to go rep. Immortal N, Watto and welcome. Watching one of your favourite streamers. Why, who else is live? And really, that is excellent. That is excellent. But yeah, so I want to spend today showing you all a weird, quirky little indie game, which I don't know if Floydo has covered or has just played. One of the few times they managed to get to a game before me, so props to them. However, real life has been kicking the fuck out of me. And okay, so I've had this weird thing. As you may or may not have gathered from me, I'm not good at sleeping. Once I'm asleep, I'm golden. But getting there, challenge. And I think I'm one of those people that would probably exist on like a 30-hour day schedule. You know, that's just how I be. Back when I was having real hard times with like schedules and sleeping and whatnot, my brain does this little thing where my alarm will go off and I will fall asleep after it, but in my head I am awake, I am going through my day, I'm doing it, like I'm fucking doing it. And I had one of those today for the first time in ages. So my alarm went off 9:30. I was like, all right, let's fucking do this. I don't know that I've actually got immediately back to sleep, and I'm having this... I'll spare you the details because it gets dark. But, like, I'm having this blazing row with Fiona because Fiona had thrown away our coffee machine. How am I supposed to stream without coffee? I'm out cold. Completely out cold. I would raise again at 1:45. So I must apologise. Oh God!
Annoyingly this morning I hurt myself tripping over a box of
How was that
Kleenex.
so loud?
It should be fine though. It's just a soft tissue injury.
Okay, that did make me laugh. Erevan, thank you kindly. That's $20, Fred. Thank you. Apparently, I'm still jumpy. Oh no, so Lizzie, that's fine. I thought I didn't need multi-alarms because I've just been using. It picks a random song from my playlists. That way, I can't get conditioned to it. Baron von Sheepington, Squarepeg, Lizzie, Watto, and welcome. Hello, friends. Hello. So friends, I'm just apologising that we didn't have a proper stream today. So you've got me for an hour and a half before I have to totter across town to go support Terrence. But
Hi Jumpy, I'm Dad.
$2 to mock me, Dad style. Thank you for the bits. Thank you for the joke. So yes, you've got me for an hour and a half. However, the goal is later on tonight when we return, we're going to basically do a night shift with Nessa because the cravings for Sea of Thieves are very pronounced. We've got a few weeks before the new season kicks in, and I want to get as much sailing as possible. And so Terrence is a lovely games industry person. Met him at a GDC 1,000 years ago, and they've been just a genuine force for good in the industry for feckin' ages. And they decided a few weeks back to use their personal funds to open a co-working space, a place for people to, co-dev and be creative, digi-maker space, if you will. And it's kind of the grand opening this afternoon. So we're going on down to show support. And Terrence has helped us personally out behind the scenes multiple times during the current hellscape that we are in. They are also one of the few people in the games industry who has more energy than I do. And Eagle lives. Watto and welcome. Hello, hello. Oh yeah, Moose. I've had those, and the exhaustion level reaches a point where you're lapsing in and out of dream state without understanding, like some fucked up, Lynchian style movie. So weird. Yes, Fred, I'm gonna go get free snacks. But also, it's gonna be a sober event. So there's gonna be there's a person making mocktails and whatnot. But you know me. I am a pisshead. At this point, I think the best descriptor for me would be functioning alcoholic. But I'm massively in support of games industry and games adjacent spaces that aren't built around drinking. Yes, Alice, this is where it gets complicated. It's a sober event, but not a sober event. I also love the fact that Sober was supposed to be based on Sober Noodles, the broadcasting group. Fred says you aren't adding a dash of tea to beer, are you now? Okay. Green tea, or the green tea powder, a little bit of that with either a rice lager or something would probably be delicious. But as much as I love beer, beer doesn't love me anymore. And if I have it, then I have to be prepared for the consequences. Matcha, the green tea powder. Thank you, Lizzie. That was the word I was grasping for. I didn't want to do the, chai tea, which just means TT. Now, really, the fact that Sober hasn't had a sober-based sober event, that's their fault. However, they have had events where people got very, very drunk. So there's that. I actually got 2 weeks until the next sober meet, so I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, so yeah, so friends, this is kind of like a little, well, I was going to say a coffee hang, but today was payday, so I treated myself. I went out, got a coffee, had to explain the current state of gender politics to a very nice old man, so a barista didn't kick the fuck out of him. Saw my friends down at my local, well, the friends who work at my local before starting shift, so we talked while the sun was out and both of us were sober. And it was a good conversation. So it turns out I do actually like those people. They're not just pisshead friends. So one of my local coffee shops is lovely, and obviously my accent makes me kind of a hot commodity for conversation. Rilu, I'm as shocked as you are. But I was going to get like an inordinate amount of coffee, so there we go. And yeah, there's this old guy at this coffee shop who's very eloquent, but very much of an older generation, and his opinions on gender are very old, and I had to be kind but stern with him that he was wrong. And because the barista's kind of like poking up, being like, I'm about to fight a bitch if he keeps going down this particular thread of conversation. I was like, okay, don't want to see this old man die today, so let's steer it, you know. No, I and him. It's, darn it, no, I can't. I always get the int and wisdom. I'm high wisdom, low int. I know not to put tomato in a fruit salad, but I do not know where tomatoes come from. I assume from some kind of chicken. But yeah, so that was my little morning. So, well, again, I do apologise that I haven't been here for you all for most of the day. You know I love hanging out with you lot. Like I said, you got me for an hour and a half. Because I've had so much coffee, I made a big old mug of tea. It's the last of... Deus gave me this wonderful, these two wonderful blends, and I've killed the fruit one. It's so good. As an aside, so Moose was asking, watching the start of the loading ready run of Wanted Dead, and suddenly thought, how much they spend licensing the music in that game? Well, you notice that they do have 99 red balloons, but they have the original version, like in German. Not the cover that most people know, which I believe was Goldfinger, or the one from Len, which was amazing. Sorry, I'm kind of low brain power, high loneliness these days outside of stream, so I got onto the weirdest fucking wiki hole last night. You'll remember the Digimon movie, right? It turns out the soundtrack for that was all hits, no misses, unmitigated bangers, like back to front. And I started looking down the list on that one, and yeah, turns out Len of Steal My Sunshine fame did a cover of 99 Red Balloons, and it slaps. Well, okay, the original Digimon movie. I know there have been multiple since then, and some of them have been, some of them have been amazing. But, like, they were doing, you know, Smash Mouth All-Star before everybody else. Okay, though technically that honour goes to Mystery Men, but you know that. Well, So Moose, like we'd have to go through. Hang on, let's have a look at the Let's see if there's a list for the wanted dead. Let's see what they've got.
I'm going to develop an indie game where you're a zookeeper who has to inspect the animals coming in. I shall call it Tapers, please.
Okay, Kira Zero, that's a pretty good one. Although there is actually a game coming out where you're a zookeeper inspecting the animals, and it's a horror game. Okay. Who the hell is Follow the Hawk? So I'm having a look at the soundtrack for Wanted Dead, and so it's got I Touch Myself, performed by Bella and Switchblades, Radio performed by Stephanie Jostin, who I believe is so that one is the lass who played Quiet, who also did the subsequent adverts for Wanted Dead and stuff, which is a wild trip into itself. So Stephanie Jonston does most of the tracks. Atomic Blue Hearts by Bella and the Switchblades, Maniac by Bella and the Switchblades. Oh, okay. So aside from Bang Bang Shoot 'em Up and Give 'em the Slip, they are all covers. Now, I don't know who Bella and the Switchblades are, but let's find out. Okay, it gets better. Bella and the Switchblades are a band represented by 101 Industries, right? So that's how they got it. The company that published Wanted Dead or was involved in its development also represents musicians. And so 99 Luftballons was a cover which was performed by Stephanie Jonston, who was also involved in the project. That's how they covered it. They got basically an incredible multifaceted performer to be not their main character, but their side character. God. The more I find out about this game. So yeah, Moose, I hope that answers your question. Moose, they were recorded for the game because the other person, a Sergio Kolobashkin, who also who wrote some of the tracks that Stephanie performs, and also helped with some of the performance covers, has only worked on Wanted Dead and some other like related stuff. The more I find out about this game, the more I love it. I'd love to make something like this. Just something that's so gloriously weird. Just leaves people puzzled. Because here's the thing, in video games, we have the ability to data mine. We have the ability to go inside the very code itself and answer questions if we really want to. Artistic intent is sometimes very easy to divine from files and skills and naming conventions, but artistic intent Like, that shit's still up in the air. Is Wanted Dead a high-speed garbage production? Is it an act of, like, unhinged, like, pseudo-level genius? God. Yeah, I'm gonna be talking about this game for 1,000 years. Morland says, when would you admit Wanted Dead belongs to the Great Hall? We've argued about this. This is the only game the Longship as a whole has ever disagreed on. Is Wanted Dead deserving of a place in the Great Hall? For those of you who may be newer here, so the Great Hall is a little thing we have in Discord that's kind of like if you want to know us, play these games. Right? And so we've got Pacific Drive, Tales of Iron, Chance of Sonar, Umarangi Generation, 1904, Sunlight, The Longing, Heaven's Vault, Magic Circle. Because there's things like Bramble, The Mountain King, which we only played one day, but had such an impact on us that we all agreed unanimously that goes in there. And then we have things like the Red Strings Club, which we played years ago, but we still talk about, right? Everhood, Opus Magnum, Outer Wilds, obviously. And yeah, this is the point, is like, Wanted Dead sits somewhere else. Like, you're talking about the line between, genius and insanity, but it's not a line, it's a fucking house, and there are loads of things in there, alright? The line between genius and insanity isn't a signpost that you cross, it's a squidgy Tesco's at the edge of sanity, right? It's the big Tesco's of the mind. I don't know where I'm going with this analogy. But yeah, so Morland, I don't disagree with you, but this is a very, very important point, that the Longship isn't me, right? This is not my house alone. I might be the person in the chair, I might be the mech pilot and the fucking dingleberry, but it's not just my house, right? And if half of us are like, I don't really think that's what we're about, then that's valid. You know what I mean? And Almas, that is a good point, but the fact that we're talking about it does make it very much about us. Well, I tell you what, when we, touch wood, we get to hit Sea of Thieves later, I'll discuss it with some more folks. It's so good. It's so good. I mean, the thing I will say is that however it goes down, Wanted Dead definitely proves that creating something genuine, focusing on something that you want to put out there in the world, and not, I don't know, not whinging about what you don't have and working with what you got and using that to make something that you genuinely believe in. You can't hate that. Like, I hope Wanted Dead made its money back, because it deserves it. It really deserves it. Okay. Let's move away from Will unravels on the subject of Wanted Dead, because I fucking love that game, but if I focus on this, that's all we're going to talk about for an hour and a half. I don't know, I lament the amount of things I have going on at the moment, because I would love to start some production stuff. There's a few things that I've been wanting to start brewing around on, and the more that I spend time with Wanted Dead, the more inspired I am. Because I really think they put that together on a fucking shoestring budget, and they made it work. I mean, I would say that the reason why they managed to get Stephanie Junston in for that one was because, like, very, very much multifaceted. And she wasn't used for physical capture for it, but did loads of, like, additional audio work and additional elements. Like, looking at her IMDb page, aside from whatchamacallit, where is it? Metal Gear Solid 5 is probably the biggest known thing that she's been attached to, at least in our space, right? The other video games are things like Space Lords and Solstice. Solstice was the Berserk with the serial numbers filed off game that I never got a code for. I don't think I got Solstice. I don't know if it's good enough. Yeah, no, they never sent me a code. That's why we didn't cover it. But hiring somebody that has that multifaceted ability but isn't already incredibly expensive or super famous is like a fucking godsend, you know? You know, I can't claim any credit, but for those of you that know Alex or Octopip, I tried to get him involved with so many video game projects that I've worked on because similar level of talent, and you know, Alex is slowly getting up there. You know, it's hard to swing a cat for, you know, JRPGs and fighting games he hasn't been involved in, which is fucking great. I've known for years that Alex is a fucking genius, and finding those kinds of people is very tricky, but it can be done. There's so much to Wanted Dead that is, you can tell they've taken their time and done what they could. And like, you're right that, like, you know, there are a lot of much larger, you know, video smiths on the internet that have covered Wanted Dead, said Will, still talking about Wanted Dead. But one, they don't get it as well as we do. We know. They only assume. And two, like, to understand it, what happened and how it all came together from a game dev perspective just boggles my mind. Oh yeah, well, Mortlen, I've told you my story about being a fan of Octopimp from the Homestuck era, and that's how I ended up on Hot Pepper Gaming. Told you that story like 1,000 times. Anyway, friends, sorry. So, jumping around, as I'm sure you've all probably heard by now, the Fallout TV show is good. I deserve a fucking gold star. I deserve a whole-ass dinosaur sticker, because I sat next to Fiona, we watched 2 episodes, and I did not, did not info dump about fuckloads of things in the Fallout universe. It was real fun. Like, I was reading an interview with Dave Oshry about it earlier today, and he likened it to. He said that he once went to see Iron Maiden in concert, and they predominantly spent the gig playing their new album stuff, and everyone was very confused because no one knows their new stuff. That's not why people come out. They come for the hits. And apparently in the encore they played a couple of, you know, classic bangers, but everyone left kind of feeling like, you know, we didn't come for the new stuff, homies. We came for the classics.
Reactor online.
And he likened
online.
that to
Weapons
Fallout's
online.
TV show.
All systems nominal.
Time to take to the seas. Play Bussy some games. And look awesome at Abussy. Take it or leave it. I've been sewing most of the day and I'm almost done. It's a blunderbussy.
Jesus Christ. So, sorry, thank you for the 66 months. I've seen you sewing. It's fucking cool. I did put this up on the schedule, but we're not jumping into Sea of Thieves yet. You all have got me for like another hour and change for a cup of tea and conversation. Then we are off to go help friends that have helped us. And then there is, fingers crossed, touch wood, there's going to be a late night Sea of Thieves, which, when I mean late, will probably be starting around 10-ish this time. So Scott, there is a package at the PO box, but I haven't had a chance to pick it up. So for next mail day, we'll have we'll definitely have something to open. No, Fred, it is real tea. It is a mix of, I think it's an oolong and a fruit blend that Deus gave us. It's real nice. But yeah. I think one of the things that is very, very lovely is that, well, I'm not saying that the Fallout TV show is perfect and has no flaws. It absolutely understands what it is drawing from and what it is about, and that's very refreshing. I feel for the Halo fans who have struggled through the Halo TV show, which does not understand what it's saying. It does not understand what it's about. You know? I think the Halo fandom deserved far better than it got. The Halo TV show is perfect and has no flaws. And, well, one thing I will say, friends, is I'm so glad that Fallout London is dropping on the 23rd, unless it gets pushed, because it will make you want to go and play Fallout. Like, I'm just gonna tell you that now. Scott Alaska, I would wholeheartedly agree. Vernflow, if we say yes, we never have to talk about the Halo TV show again, and that's okay. Well, I don't know. Obviously, one of the big contributing factors is that people like ourselves are now at a decision-making level or at a creative, expressive level in a lot of different industries, you know? I think that you have to struggle less to convey your ideas within these teams, you know what I mean? You know, the Warcraft movie failed on so many fronts, because it completely misunderstood the experience of being in those games. It tried to treat them like a book adaptation and then condense them to make their own flavour, I guess. And that don't play homies. The Fallout TV show is not based on any specific one of the games. But to watch it as a Fallout fan is like, oh, I get this. It is the experience of playing Fallout translated into television. So I know, which one do you mean? Because the newest one, the Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, was brilliant. Because it also is so evocative of the chaos of playing D&D with friends around the table. But there was a sequel to the Jeremy Irons Dungeons & Dragons movie. Not a lot of people know that. It is distinctly more violent and much, much worse. I kid you not. What's the name of it? Dungeons & Dragons movies. Alright. Film series. Oh, I forgot about the third one. So Dungeons & Dragons, a year 2000 movie, directed by one Courtney Solomon, was followed up with Dungeons & Dragons Wrath of the Dragon God, which was itself followed up with Dungeons & Dragons 3, The Book of Vile Darkness, which, if that was a parody game inside a story about D&D, I'd be like, fuck yeah. Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves is the newest one. However, it is not an adaptation of a video game, and was released direct to DVD in the UK. It would be released elsewhere the following year, and premiered in the United States as a sci-fi original movie. But yes, well, and so it's the Unrequented Library. What unwelcome, lovely to see you, friend. Alan is saying Honor Among Thieves is perfect because it's not a movie about D&D. It's a heist game run in D&D. Bingo, bango. And I'm not telling you anything that you don't know. I understand this. But with Fallout, it's not trying to tell us the story of like Fallout 1 or 2. It's not trying to tell us the story of how everything happened. It is a Fallout story, right? Like, it straight up. And I won't go into too much detail, and I'm going to try not to over-talk it, because I do recommend watching it. And you should only watch it through legal means on Amazon Prime. I do not recommend that anyone seek any other means by watching it. That would be wrong. Sorry, they've got fucking TurboTax ads beforehand. And I was like, does anyone understand the fucking juxtaposition of that? A company that has lobbied to make taxes, or to keep taxes complicated, so they can sell you tax software before Fallout. Itself heavily inspired by the hyper-capitalism of nuclear war that, well, I think it was Philip K. Dick that wrote the first like little short story about that. He wrote a story about how the others were coming up with increasingly more complicated and powerful nuclear weapons. So you as a homeowner had to buy more and more expensive anti-missile protection. Legend, that's the other way around. Liberty Prime better than Amazon Prime. But anyway, yeah. Just drove me up the wall. Like I said, I won't go into it any further. It's just nice encountering a show that really understands the world that it's coming from. But yeah, I'm only 2 episodes in. I'm sure there's more to go, but... Oh, sorry, Shaunus was asking me about that as well. Now, the thing I said in Discord, which is I would never ever tell you how to spend your money. However, when buying the bundles, you can set how much goes to each, like to the developer, to the charity, or if it's partner, you can choose how much goes to, you know, the streamer. Because, alright, the Deck Builders bundle, Book of Hours is very unique, and it pains me to say it is very good. However, the person that heads up that studio is a bona fide piece of shit garbage monster. I cannot state how shitey the person that heads up that studio is. From the others, the only other one I know is Floppy Nights, lol. And the rest are fine. I've been told Dungeon Drafters is quite fun. I know nothing about Gorgon Quest other than I read it as Courtesan Quest first with my dyslexic brain, and everything since then has been a disappointment. And whatever Zote is, other than fun to say, I don't know. But again, I would never ever tell you how to spend your money. But if you felt a moral obligation, because Book of Hours for $20 plus games is pretty good, here's what you can do. You can go... Oh! Okay, cool. That just does weird now. I love that for us. God darn it. Sorry for showing you the infinite void there. So here's what you can do. In any of these bundles, you can go here to adjust donation. You click that and it gives you your different choices: default, extra charity, or custom. And this is when you can suggest everything goes to the charity. Boosh. Headshot. Or any other configuration that you require. But yeah, it's infuriating to have to recommend a title made by... Well, okay, a title that is made from a studio headed up by an awful person. But, unfortunately, if we're going to talk about the realities of games, we do sometimes have to talk about these. And Book of Hours, there isn't anything else like it, right? We're not just talking about, like, a shooty gunbang game with a tiny little quirk. Like, Book of Hours is top tier. And so I've personally been applying the, well, one, I did not pay for it. But two, the Randy Pitchford method, right? Like, less than 1% of the people who worked on this game is a piece of shit. And so long as we can make sure that that person doesn't get away with doing the white guy maneuver, which is to hide for a few years and then come back onto the scene like you've done nothing wrong. Like, there is definitely someone at that studio who's incredibly talented, who is the reason why Book of Hours is as good as it is, and it sure as shit ain't him. So yeah. What I want to say is, if you have the cravings to play Cultist Simulator again, don't. Stacklands is better. Stacklands is just better. And Daydreamer, yes, that is the guy who left Fail Better because he's a piece of shit. But yeah. Well, the way I look at it is that people shift, people change, people grow. Some people are garbage humans for a small time, and they admit it, and they learn from it, and they try and do better. Some people will go to great lengths to silence anyone that speaks out against them, hide for a few years, and then come back as if they never did anything wrong. That's not forgive and forget. That's hope that you forget, and that I get to pretend like I didn't do anything. Wow, sorry. Whew. Got a lot of a bitch in me today. I'm so sorry, friends. Yeah. Hey, no, Alna's Witch Hand is pretty good. Again, gonna say, Stacklands is still better. But only because, like, Stacklands does the whole, like, exploration and adventure alongside it. Hey!
I'll just throw this money at you instead.
Now, Bird and Flow, thank you kindly. Alright. And technically, like, that all goes to, you know, paying rent and keeping the animals alive. I am trying to justify to myself how I can get my Rain World hand tattoo. Why can't I just have a cool friend who can just come round and tattoo me for no money? Why is that a thing I have? No, Bird and Flow, seriously, thank you. Anyway, sorry, apologies for getting onto heavier topics. On the subject of things that are free, I did put this in Discord, but I wanted to pop it on your radar. A team called Findustries, F-I-N-N Industries, made Versus Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time. You are a squad of cutie patooties controlling a tank, fighting another squad of cuties firing a tank. It is called Tank Team, and that's it. Everybody on the tank has different stations, and hey! Whoever that was, heckin' thank you. You and your friends work together to operate a tank. Like, one person can look out the periscope to actually see the size of the battle, but that's also not the person who is aiming the gun, and it's not the person who's firing it. Looks fucking brilliant. Alright? And it is no money! So what I can tell is it's... Oh. Well, it was free. Okay, it's $4 now. Alright. Oh, beans. Stop being free. I feel really bad now. Oh, anyway, it looks really good. I think most people picked it up for no money. I guess they changed... Oh, they changed it. Buggers. Shouldn't have done that. Should have kept it as free. Oh, well, more then. It's really fucking kind of you. Thank you. But yeah, the idea of multiplayer Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time as a versus game, sign me up. It's like all the fun of Barotrauma with slightly less of the oh god, only slightly. One of these days we'll put a crew together. That's the Barotrauma is the one that Caffeine vehemently refused to ever play again. That was a big piece of fruit. Wow. Oh, you know, Twizzlight, Barotrauma should never be played with randos. And I will say, because I know we're saying it has a steep learning curve, which is fair, but the thing that I always think about is how the beginning of Barotrauma is failing is funny. It's the mid-curve where you know just enough to try and get it working, but it's not quite coming together until you start being like a cohesive crew. But I will say that Barotrauma uses like complexity to create variation in what would otherwise be like leftover support tasks. And I thought that was real interesting. Hey! Generous, feckin' thank you, friend. I was mentioning that earlier. Sorry, I'm trying not to inhale the pieces of fruit. But anyway, so aside from that, gaming news has been predominantly two stories today. One is that the crew is not only gone, but has just been removed from people's accounts. And the whole nonsense over possibly Space, a studio which closed today, and it closed mid-meeting. They pulled people's access and informed them that the studio was closing, and in an internal message blamed Kotaku and the press for leaking information about it. Like, it's been a drama-y mess. Well, I tell you what, Immortal then, why not pop it in the free games channel and see if anybody would like it? Yeah. Damien, yeah, reset the clock on mismanagement BS. But it's obviously everyone else's fault but management. I don't know. I've been watching Shogun. What is wrong with my gob? Shogun on Hulu. Shogun? No, Shogun. For fuck's sake. And honestly, I'd like to see a return to the fucking seppuku of studio heads. Just because, like, the point of being a studio head is you do all the shit that nobody else wants to. You keep everybody together so your creatives can be creative, right? It is a studio head's job to make sure the money is coming in, everyone's getting paid, and everyone's getting fed. And like, back in the day, I heard some incredible stories of like people, you know, refinancing their own fucking houses to keep the studio going for just a bit longer. You know, studio heads forgoing their own payments, selling their fucking cars, like going the extra mile to make sure everybody beneath them is protected. You know, that's the shit I kind of grew up on. And no, that isn't healthy, and no, we shouldn't be doing that. Like, people shouldn't have to lose their houses to release a video game. But it's more the point of like, when you're in management, that is your responsibility. That's your step up, right? Okay, but Damien, I would watch the shit out of that. Eagle lives of all the times. Anyway, I'm just... The arrogance of white men failing upwards ceases to blow my tiny fucking mind. No, Eagle lives, absolutely. And I still think, I still think Tim Heaton wouldn't have let the shit go down. Fucking yeah! Fucking what? Fucking hyenas? Fucking yeah! Fucking stop it! Tim wasn't there, it was what's his face. Sorry, that doesn't make sense to anyone except for me and Eagle lives, I do apologise. It's like... No, I am. You cannot understand the mediocrity of white management in video games. The failing upwards of people who leave projects that fail and then go elsewhere and are heralded. Like, naming no names, but I worked under somebody whose crowning achievement before joining our operation... Oh, what was it? Oh, it was the Disaster Fest that Bethesda put out. Oh god, how am I forgetting it? It was the Team Fortress that died. With parkour. Where is my brain gone? Apparently I didn't have enough caffeine today. I got my tea cat. Fuck. Sorry, I have like a little cat for straining my tea. And the cat has a little fish. It'll come to me in just a second. It was a 360 era styling class shooter with parkour that was supposed to be the new paradigm and ate shit. It wasn't Breach. The Breach loved what it was trying to do. Brink! Alright. 5 points to Dustin. It was Brink. As Monday Night Combat kind of chugged along. But yeah, Brink was a disaster. And finding out that, you know, someone had been brought on board with that having been their opus magnum before we worked under him, I was like, yeah, it had so much squander potential. And Angel Kalina, well, at least 12 hours of sleep sounds lovely. I got 6 and I feel like I, you know, hibernated for the winter. Yeah, well, I mean, and to the head librarian, Brink's name through to branding made no fucking sense. Like, it was visually impressive, but ultimately forgettable. It got lost in the mosh of so many other titles, naming convention-wise and visual style-wise. Hell, even gameplay-wise, it was impossible to watch. Anyway. So yeah, that's my point, is like, you can track this like tribe of incredibly mediocre white guys in the games industry who keep getting rehired. And it drives me up the wall. Because if anybody else got the same opportunities and chances that they got, we'd see more sensible stuff going on. But that's more than I can unpack in the next 45 minutes, you know what I'm saying? It almost sounds like a compliment, Dustin. And yeah, to the head librarian, it was the most Blorange game of its era. Yeah, because it was Blorange with nothing else. the power of Grey Soul, Scar and Lasker. Thank you kindly. Well, okay, so I know, video game naming schemes is definitely one of my passion topics. So here's the thing, Brink. Brink of what? Brink of where? It's an extra descriptor that in isolation says nothing. Rainbow Six, Vegas 2. Alright, look, it's not the most inspired game, but you know what it does? What it says on the fucking tin, it's a Rainbow Six game set in Vegas. Again. Like, it is a functional name. Alright? Once you have established a brand, you can then use modifiers to denote, like, either sequels or things in the series. You know, Battlefield Bad Company. If it was just called Bad Company, actually that's still a pretty fucking good name. But also, in that same, the difference between Battlefront and Battles... Oh, what was the other one with the Star Wars? It was Battlefront and... Battlefield, yes. And yeah, so, Metal Gear Solid Revengeance is brilliantly named. It's a fucking mess. But one, all of it is spellable. And it translates really well to other, like, Latin derivatives. Metal Gear is a good enough brand that its iconography will stand. And there's nothing else like it. I mean, what is Revengeance? We all had to look it up. But it's a word that is made out of pieces we know. Yeah, you revenge your vengeance. You're revenging. But the fact that we're even talking about it. Whereas Brink. What is it? Marble downstairs? You can be on the brink of something. But... What? Yeah, and you're not going to forget Metal Gear Solid. Now, Damien's hanging with us, which means I get to pick on Damien. Damien's naming convention is go the other way. Make something that is so unwieldy as to be unforgettable. Closer to Revengeance. For those of you who haven't seen Damien's work, Damien basically does like light novel naming conventions for their games. Like the Damien Crawford golfing experience. So that's a pretty easy name to remember. And it speaks volumes of chaos. And I like that. But yeah, naming conventions is one of those things that I love, and the thing is, it's an art, right? Because a good game can sometimes survive a shit name, but sometimes a good game can languish under a bad name, right? It's a thing that shouldn't affect the quality of the title and its success overall, but fucking can. You know, I've been talking a lot about, was it Lightyear Frontier? It's a terrible name. Terrible name. It's taken me so long to remember.
Hope you're doing okay, and remember, we all live together.
Lost Flowers, I am off stream doing fucking terrible, but I persist, much like the horrors. And today I get to have a double header, right? Like I get to have some tea with you lot, and then later on tonight we're jumping on the Sea of Thieves. Verdantflow says Horizon Zero Dawn got a lot of flack when it came out. Yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn is not an awful title, but it's not great. And yeah, Phyllis, Amnesia: A Machine for Pigs, fucking brilliant, because it makes you go, what? I'm sorry, what? A machine for what now? But yeah, Immortal N, the Wii and Wii U should not have succeeded, but Nintendo plus, you know, the motion control craze that they managed to hit at the same time, perfect. Now, Damien makes a really good point that in Damien's philosophy, the title is the pitch because of how saturated the market is, and that's very true, right? No. The head librarian says their PSO2 server's down. I'm so sorry. I know I've said this multiple times. I'm seriously thinking about running a side channel that's just the beach from PSO episode 2, and that's it. You just tune in, it's the peak. No, and Phyllis, Microsoft has not been any better. The Xbox, great. Xbox 360, okay. But then Xbox One, Xbox Series X, the Xbonics, like, I don't know the name of the current Xbox without Googling it. Like, at least PlayStation does what it says on the tin. What's this? A PlayStation 1. What's this? A PlayStation 5. I think my tiny math brain can count on one hand. And the X-Bone being the shorthand, like... Gone X-Bonin. And Andorf, Watto and welcome. Oh, yeah. Sorry, Damien was saying that Phantasy Star Online had such size soundtracks. Yeah. It's why I've been listening to so much of this, like, this kind of pseudo-jungle 2000s tune, because it's kind of like my happy place, you know? And episode 3 had a banging soundtrack. It's a fucking weird choice, but I respect it. Sorry, for those of you who weren't Phantasy Star Online fans. So you had Phantasy Star Online, one of the... For a lot of people, it was one of the first console MMOs they had access to. And it was peak Dreamcast era Sega. Then, I believe, as an expansion on the Dreamcast, and then as a double bundle on GameCube, they released episodes 1 and 2 together as a bundle pack. And the story of episodes 1 and 2 kind of ends on a bit of a cliffhanger. I won't spoil it, but it's interesting. Nothing compared to like Final Fantasy XIV now, but at the time, it was the peak of MMO storytelling. And then they released Phantasy Star Episode 3, which was a collectible children's card game. And everyone went, fucking what? It's a good time, it's a good time. Yeah, the Phantasy Star portables were fine, and I don't hate them. Good times, good times. Anyway, sorry, jumping back. Naming conventions in games are very, very powerful, and puns are very strong, but don't always translate, so trying to think of who your core market is and working backwards from there. If you're very, very, very indie, having your title basically explain what your game is cannot be understated. Like, Rain on Your Parade, I thought was great because you play as Cloud and you literally rain on people's parades. I think their next one is called like Chaos Crow, or what was it called? Now this is the point where it's just my gin-soaked brain that isn't remembering. Not Crow Country. Crow Country is a bad name. It's a terrible crow, is it? Alright, fuck it. You know, best name we've had in years? Untitled Goose Game. I say that with no hint of irony. What do? You're a goose. God. You don't even need to convey the whole, like, it's actually, like, what if Hitman was non-lethal and twee? Shaunerus, I think the What the series is pretty good. What the Golf, What the Bat, What the Car. Goat Simulator, love it. Now, Alnus, I do agree, Get in the Car Loser, I love it. It pops, it's got the pop culture reference, and it's it's a road trip game, and the name itself is both its vibe and its instruction, like you were saying. Perfect, no notes. Now, Super Hot, I think, is very, very good because Super Hot only works in English language territories. So I don't know how they translate the name overseas or if they even do, but in English, Super Hot makes you go, what? It's easy to say, it's easy to spell, it's easy to remember, but it's wrong. It's grammatically weird enough to make your brain go, hang on, Super Hot. Now with Kingdom Hearts, I do think that is a very bad title, but this is where the shamanistic element of naming video games comes in, right? Because if Kingdom Hearts had been just a standalone indie title with none of the brand crossover stuff, I don't think it would have stuck with people as much as it had. However, Square Enix plus Disney, right? Which means that the very formula of it is what you probably heard of before the title. I would wager that most of us here, when we first heard about it, what we heard was Square Enix are making a game with fucking Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck in it. And you went, fucking what? Yeah, Cloud Strife hangs out with Hercules. What? What's it called? I don't know, Kingdom Hearts. Boosh. And this is where the shamanistic elements of it, right? They can do that because they're Square Enix. Like, they already have the cultural identity to carry through. I personally, again, I don't think Ratchet & Clank was a very good name. Like a lot of the mascot platformers. Because there's the other one, so there's Ratchet & Clank, and then there's... Oh, god darn it. And well, this leading to one of my points, is that there were two mascot platformers, Ratchet & Clank and another one, that dropped in, and Jak and Daxter, that dropped in a similar point. And neither of those had a naming convention that really matched their identity as strongly as it could have. Now, neither were bad, right? And I don't think either of them sold bad. But, like, yeah. Sorry, jumping back. Yeah, Alnus, if I tell you I've got a video game where Donald Duck fist fights fucking Sephiroth, sold. Done. And there's so many of Square Enix's titles that get by on that. Or the fact that their names have more of a portmanteau or work a lot better in Japanese. So I'm told Disgaea, the Pretty Boy Brawl game they did, that name's great in Japanese. Oh. Oh. Okay, we're good. Oh, no, we're not good. Oh, no! Okay. Bear with me 2 seconds. I've got to do my Dr. Claw impression, so don't do anything interesting. Alright? I've got to go, Dr. Claw. Just give me 2 seconds.
Dot.
Sorry about that, friends. Thank you for letting me do my Dr. Claw impression. You know, dun 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 dun. And Scotty, thank you for the bits. And Errorman, thank you. I'll get you next time, Gadget. Next time. No, I can't do that level of growl. I have to work on it. Go, Gadget, give a fuck! I will say, I always thought Inspector Gadget's car was fucking awesome. I don't know why. But yeah, when we start getting into like Japanese naming conventions, that's when it gets to another level of complication. And the art of translation versus localization for video game titles is a topic for a whole ass day. You know, things like Okami and God Hand and, alright, let's be honest, anything that Clover put out. Shin Megami Tensei lives on that kind of, that like, hipster brand identity, but then uses an additional title that they play fast and loose with different regions. So, like, the one featuring Dante from Devil May Cry was like Lucifer's Call, but it was also something else and something else. Like, they just went for a localization for different regions. It was Nocturne, or however it's said. I did a whole bunch of that nonsense. Yeah. Well, and honest, I think it's worth saying that, like, while Persona 3 was the big breakout in English language territories, it was also a cult thing for a long time. Like, Persona 4, built on 3, laid a ton of groundwork so that 5 could be, like, the huge bombastic nonsense.
Or, I missed the change to claim first. Oh wait, hat-trick smile.
Indeed, but Bacon Avenger, it does mean that you get a seat at the council for the decidence of firsts. Oh, damn. Damien says that Nocturne's remaster was so good. Like, genuinely might be a top 5 to top 1 best RPGs played. Fucking yo, that is high praise coming from you, friend. Also, Damien, sorry I keep sending you unhinged things when I've been drinking, but I didn't know about that RPG that I sent to you. Like, I literally only found out about it from the video that I sent across. And it's once again a great example of why I love this industry so much. I keep finding new stuff, even when I think I know everything this medium has to offer. Let me just hang on. Oh, shush. Baroque is the name of the game that I found out about very, very recently. Originally a Saturn first-person roguelike RPG with a subsequent PS1 release and then a Wii remaster? Like... And I love that. And sorry, Rule of Rose and those ones are definitely cult games. I don't know. I got real inspired after watching the Baroque deconstruction. Yeah, you wouldn't know anything about that. Hang on. If you'll want to watch the video that I'm referencing, it's here. And what's important to remember is that this is a huge deconstruction of a very complex title that wasn't fully properly translated when it was released in the West. It did have a remake on the Wii that changes a lot of it, and definitely changes the art style to be more palatably second wave anime. However, if you are aware of it, the thing that breaks my brain is how it does a level of storytelling that would make FromSoft go, alright guys, that's a bit fucking much, at a time before widespread internet. Like... Well, so Legend, it'll be an interesting video to give a watch. And friends, you've still got me for another like half an hour or so, but just as an FYI, because I know numbers came in and are sorry. So we're just having a little coffee hangout, and then we're going to go help a friend, and then there is going to be late night rampant piracy. Or at least, touch wood, I hope so, right? So... it is worth pointing out, though, friends, that Ortrazini is currently sailing on the Sea of Thieves. So if any of you would like to chip away at your season before it ends, you've still got, like, just under 3 weeks to finish the season. And honestly, it's not difficult. But the next season adds the new weapons and the new world events and PS5 players to snack upon. Oh, also, just as a quick aside, me and Fearless did find out that the Steam Deck runs Sea of Thieves. So at some point, the idea of getting a squad together with Steam Decks to play, I'm gonna say I really like that idea. Mainly because my dream is to be able to play a galleon with 4 people all in the same place, but you might notice in here that the chances of getting 4 computers in is very hard. It's very slim. But 4 people with Steam Decks, well, that's different. Well, me and 3 Steam Decks. Anyway, sorry, it's just something I'm dreaming of. Angel Kalina, have a lovely rest of your day. We might see you later for rampant piracy. I see, Headlight Brown, you get it. You get it. But yeah, friends, I really recommend that video on Baroque because it's a restating of what we were saying earlier with Wanted Dead. It is a game that sets out to do and say something very specifically. Right? Like, I don't know. Some of you here already make games that you create for no one's reason other than your own. And I don't want to sound like I'm being patronizing, but in the time around Baldur's Gate and the discussions we are currently having in the industry, I actually think that it's worth restating that, hey, make some fucked up shit because it makes you happy. Like, it doesn't have to sell 1,000 copies. It doesn't have to sell 4 copies. You can create art purely for the joy of creation. You know? And the thing about that video sums up perfectly with Baroque what they were trying to say and what they were trying to do. And I fucking love that. Fucking love that. It is a story of cycles. It is a story of things repeated. And honestly, like, we focus a lot on Yoko Taro's works, but that's because his works also sell. And I don't know, I've been real guilty about focusing on larger titles of late. Like, look, I fucking love Elden Ring. I absolutely fucking love it. That gameplay loop, exploration, it's beautiful. No notes. But then, I don't know, Lune Acid has left me wanting, right? Lune Acid was so unapologetically fucking good. And Damien, have you had the chance to play Lune Acid yet? Sorry, again, I'm picking up my friends because the other thing about my life right now is that if you ever want to chat with me, this is the place to do it. Like, this is my life. Well, Damien, I very recommend it, as it's wholeheartedly what if Kingsfield, like, what if From had continued down that other pathway. Also, I cannot wait for the final version of Dread Delusions because I am going to stream the shit out of that. And that is a very, very good point, that even if the game doesn't stick the landing, you can be the inspiration for someone carrying forward. I think if there's something that we can really take from Clover and from Yokotaro and from, FromSoft. Okay, I know I've just listed 3 Japanese devs. From fucking Wanted Dead, right? Putting your whole heart into things will always be recognized. The problem is, it doesn't always make you a gajillion dollars. But we can add Suda in there as well. We're just picking on Japanese devs right now. Because again, we talk about Platinum Games in a revered sense, but you're got to understand, they were on fucking life support for years. Xbox fucked them on a deal, And Nier didn't sell great. The reason why Nier was a fucking cult classic was because nobody fucking played it. It's still amazing that Automata did as well as it did. But, like, Platinum were limping by on work-for-hire projects, and some of them were dog shit. I played the Legend of Korra Platinum game. If you said to somebody, oh yeah, fucking Platinum is doing an Avatar game, the quality that you would expect from it, and what they delivered, oh, it was a bad time. Yeah. Vanquish, Vanquish was part of their 3-game Sega deal. And Vanquish was fucking brilliant, but so far ahead of its time. I'd stream it for you, friends, but I can't talk and play Vanquish. It's too fast. You know, they basically did Sekiro for fans of Contra, and no one got it. And Bayonetta sold good, but Sega drastically overinflated what they thought their sales figures were going to be. That's another story. Sorry, I'm careening away from the point. Just that putting your whole heart into creating, especially games that, for those that do experience them, it stays with them. Like, that's powerful. And I love the fact that, you know, in the current climate where we have these long video essays and fuckheads like me, who will absolutely bathe in a game for days, if not weeks, where we can experience these titles, we can understand them so much. Like, putting your whole heart into a title has so much value. And somehow I brought it back around to Wanted Dead. I'm sorry. It wasn't intentional, I promise. Just fucking love that game. Oh, sorry. If any of you didn't see Vanquish, I think it's still on Steam and I think it still runs. So Vanquish was, God, to call it a cover shooter would be to lie to your face. It was a high-speed third-person shooter that Platinum did during their Sega deal, and it is speed beyond speed. You know, this is the. It's a lot. It's a lot. Transforming weapons, high-speed chaos. There we go, both on the quick draw. The rocket knees allows you to basically do like a high-powered jet slide. You know, you are shooty gun bang. Oh, it's the. You are a shooty gun bang like over-the-top Sentai level fucker. In an 80s action movie inspired sci-fi chaotic blast 'em up. However, okay, so it does one thing that it never really conveys to the user as much as it really should have, but it has a style to damage system that is incredible. Oh, and Scotty, thank you for giving Iron in per sub. That's really fucking cool of you. So the more stylish you play, the more damage you do. And the great little example I always use is that if you stay in cover for long enough, your character will open up their faceplate, light a cigarette, and start puffing away. When you go to move, they flick the cigarette in the air in an exaggerated manner. For all the time the cigarette's in the air, you're doing increased damage because that's fucking cool. That's some Spike Spiegel on crack level shit. Like, let's go. And so if you play it like a Gears of War style shooter, if you play it methodically and calmly and daka, then your character does all right. If you play it like you've just necked 3 Red Bulls and you can see through space and time, then you destroy left, right, and center. And I think a lot about how that isn't conveyed to the user properly, and that led to a lot of people being confused at its release. And you have to understand, this is at a time when Gears of War 2 had sold all copies. Like, we are talking that full-on Mad World trailer era leading into Gears of War 3, which sold, let me check my notes again, all copies. Annoying him. You're under no obligation, friend. Good to have you here. Anyway, I'm kind of going down the. I was at Sega. Hush now. Hush, no robots. Okay. Fuck with my brain out. Oh yes, just that I was at Sega during Bayonetta, Vanquish, and I forget what the third one was. What's the third one in the Platinum deal? God darn it. I'm just googling it. No, Piano 3 was part of the Capcom 5. Anarchy Reigns, that was it. Oh, because basically, Mad World was kind of like their experimental title, and during Mad World was when they signed Bayonetta, Vanquish, and Anarchy Reigns. And then Anarchy Reigns did not do good. Bayonetta did good, but Sega expected him to do so much better. It didn't. And Vanquish was kind of similar. They thought Vanquish was going to tap into that, like... They thought Vanquish was going to tap into the Western market, which had just started to emerge. But also, so like, Vanquish was part of Sega's, like, attempt to become dominant again in North America and Europe. So that, Binary Domain, and there was one other, which might have been Bayonetta as well. Well, okay, so this is one of the things is like, we're talking about bad naming conventions. Anarchy Reigns sucks because both Anarchy and Reigns are shitey words to spell, and none of it confirmed anything. So, if you don't remember, Mad World was the controversial title on the Wii. The Wii was seen as a family console. Mad World, a family console with motion controls, as you well know, not telling you anything new. But Anarchy Reigns was a black and white and very red, like brutal hack and slash with these like chainsaw fist evisceration combo finishes, which was very reminiscent of what's his face? Oh god, why am I even trying to remember things? Oh, it's the dude that drew and wrote Hard Boiled, one of my favourite visual novels. This like hyper detailed black and white, just soaked in ink. Very Frank Miller as well. I don't think Frank Miller did Hard Boiled, but you know what I mean. And it got a lot of coverage because, you know, on a console full of, family-friendly, child-friendly games, here was you, like, just pulling out a man's bumhole with a fucking chainsaw or something. Yeah, it also had Red Steel, which should have been awesome, but controlled like garbage. Jeff Darrow, thank you, Dustin. Glad one of us is using Google. But also, so like, you know, Sin City kind of became the shorthand for Frank Miller's whole like black and white and red, or black and white and one color art style. Anyway, yeah, you know what I mean. So Mad World didn't sell good, but it was infamous. So Sega commissioned essentially a pseudo-sequel called Anarchy Reigns, which was the character from Mad World plus a cast of all sorts of different wide and varied people in like a 3D brawler setup. Unfortunately, it fell to a lot of problems. So one, it had a campaign mode, but in the campaign mode, you could only play as one person. Now, this has been a problem with fighting games for as long as they had intended. The other was that they had intended it to not just be a brawler, but a fighting game. You know, they built all these systems to accommodate for a fighting game community that never got the chance to spring up. And it was released on PS3 and 360. The soundtrack is fire. Like, it's so good. I still have Sound the Alarm. You know what, I might even... I might risk it for a biscuit. I might risk it for a biscuit in case. We might get quieted, but fuck it. Alright. Hush now, PlayStation 2 era jungle. So yeah, so, like... Oh, also, Bayonetta did feature heavily in the marketing, but was only a side character available in multiplayer. Actually, shit, let me just show you the video on this. Like, this is the kind of cast we were dealing with. Like, so that guy, he has robo legs, Super Punch Priest, Jetstream Jack before he got work, Robots 1 and 2, like, look at this cast. Sorry about the 2000s camera angle. That pretty boy with the arms is unfortunately one of the few characters you get to play as. There's Matey Boy from Mad World. 2000s, I'm sorry. And Missy Netta hanging out as well. But yeah, that's old Beef Kai Brawler. The ninja's invisible. Why the fuck not? That just makes me hungry. And yeah, the whole of this soundtrack is all fire. I'm gonna play too much of it, but yeah. That's what they were rocking with Anarchy Reigns. Sold like garbage, unfortunately. Like, all that creativity, all that, like, platinum style focus. And so, the following year, they got brought on to finish Metal Gear Revengeance. Well, okay, sorry. The following year, they launched Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, which they've been on for a little bit. But again, they didn't make that. Konami started it. Well, Kojima's Konami team started that and then went, and then after that, they're just banging out titles as quick as they can. Wonderful 101, which was heralded as genius, but was on the Wii U, so it sold like garbage. Bayonetta 2, which was resurrected by Nintendo, came out the following year, as was the Legend of Korra commissioned title by Activision. So at this point, Platinum's putting out 2 games a year. Following year, Transformers Devastation and an 8-bit Bayonetta. The year after that, they did Star Fox Guard for the Wii U. So Star Fox Zero and Star Fox Guard, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutants in Manhattan. And the following year was Nier Automata. Like, they fucking scraped by the skin of their teeth. And it's only after Nier Automata did they make enough money to be like, But then they did Astral Chain. There was the Wonderful 101 remaster. World of Demons. An actually good game on iOS. And yeah. Yeah, they were only co-developers on Star Fox Zero. That was Nintendo, the Nintendo EPD team. So yeah. But like, they've made a lot of things happen with a small team. But again, like, after Nier Automata, there hasn't been another banger, alright? So they had Soul Cresta, like a bullet hell shooter, which was fine. And then the unfortunate Babylon's Fall, a PS4, PS5 launch title that is already dead, I want to say? And Bayonetta 3. That was all in 2022, right? So the only time they've had a break was between Nier Automata in 17 and Astral Chain in 19. And last year they did Bayonetta, Ceresa and the Lost Demon, which I haven't had hands on with yet, but I'm very glad exists. And it's also worth noting that, Scalebound was meant to be their big title for Microsoft, which was announced in like 2015. Got killed in 2017. Sorry, I'm just yelling dates at you. I apologise, friends. This isn't useful at all.
Hands up everyone that didn't want to buy Lilat Wars because we felt cheated out of the name of Star Fox. Bloody Nintending to their IPs, no doubt.
Mm-hmm. Fucking Lilat Wars. Like, what are we supposed to do with that? My little dyslexic heart. Like, get fucked. Sorry. I forget why it wasn't called Star Fox 64 in PAL regions. Oh, okay, sorry. So, the reason it was called Lilat Wars in PAL regions is because PAL is, it's not just the UK, but it's all the eFix lot, right? Nintendo were worried that the German company Star Fox would sue them because of similarities, so it was called Lilat Wars. Ugh. Ugh. Hey, Biggs, if that were to ever happen, it would be entirely on Bayonetta's terms, and I think we're all aware of that. Anyway, how are you doing, Biggs? So, friends, I am sadly going to have to trundle off in a couple of minutes. Thank you for joining me for a cup of tea in a couple hours. I didn't think anyone would be here, just, So, I'm happy we got to hang out and have a natter. No, Biggs, go roll dice, DM well, to be continued. I am hopefully, touch wood, going to be back later on with some Sea of Thieves, but it is going to be a late one, so we'll see what chaos resides in the heart of man. Yeah, well, hopefully. We're just doing Night Shift with Nessa. Like, I think that's just the long and short of it. We basically split the preamble and the chaos and just gone, boop. Okay. So, friends, if I don't see you later, have a fucking excellent rest of your weekend, alright? I'm always happier for having chatted with you lot, so thank you. I apologise again we didn't get to do Rusted Moss today. That's on me. But in my defence, I really did think I was awake. I thought I had woken up and was going through my day. Didn't know I was hallucinodreaming, so... Alright, whatever you do, have a lovely rest of your evening. If we see you later, yo-ho me hearties. And if not, just be good, friends. Tomorrow is Snail Sim. We're going in search of Vikings. And I really hope you'll all join me for that one, because we can get the whole Snail squad together. We can do this. Alright, friends. Cheers to you all. To be continued. And have a wonderful rest of your evening.